How's it going, guys? This video is going to be a beginner's guide to the gym, so I'm going to throw in some kind of like essential tips that you need to train and just the basics of training and the basics of building muscle I'm going to put in here, and how not to do things wrong, how to do things right, and how to do things properly. So if you've trained a lot before and know what you're doing, this probably isn't a video for you, but if you've been training for a short amount of time, you're not really sure what you're doing, like you don't know what correct form is, you don't know some specific terms that people use, like, and you're just not lifting properly, or maybe not getting the results, you don't really know what you're doing, this is probably the video for you. Is it more engaging if I look at the lens, or is it just weird? Like, I can't work it out, so I'm not good at the lens. Or am I? I'll start with some basic definitions. You might already know these, you might not, but I'll try and get it like over and done with real quickly because they are kind of essential. So what is a rep and what is a set, basically? This is the first thing I'm just going to clear up before I start using terms. A rep is one complete movement of the exercise. So for example, if I was curling, start from here, curl up to here, that movement would be one rep. So one rep is just one movement of the exercise, one complete cycle of the exercise as such. So if I was doing bench press, start from here, that would be one rep. So what's a set then? A set is basically just, as it sounds, a set of repetitions. A rep is a repetition, a set is a set of repetitions. So you might be doing 10 reps and then stop. That would be 10 reps in a set. The set is just the group of repetitions that you do, if that makes any sense. The number of reps you do varies depending on your training goal, but if you're here because you want to get toned or build muscle, then you really want hypertrophy to occur, which is the action of building muscle. So the recommended amount of reps for hypertrophy is 8 to 12. So probably going to just say an intermediate, just say 10 reps. So if you have to put it as like one single figure, the amount of reps you do is 10. But it varies, as I said, depending on what your training goal is. It depends on the muscle group again as well. Like, normally, the majority of your muscles like to be trained at 8 to 12 reps for hypertrophy, but things like forearms, calves, and abs, you're going to want to do like 12 plus reps, really, just to really get that contraction and get a pump on them. Other question that I get asked when I train with my mates that haven't trained in the gym a lot is, how long do you rest for? Well, again, depending on what your training goals are, but for hypertrophy, the recommended time is around 30 to 1 minute 30, so shove it in intermediate and say 1 minute. That's what I usually do. You don't have to time it, like, it depends. You normally want to keep your workouts short and intense. The question I probably most commonly get asked in the gym is, what weight shall I use? Like, by my friends if I'm training with them or something like that, or training with someone who hasn't trained before, they're like, what weight shall I use? Well, there's no universal weight to use, obviously, because everyone's different and it's dependent upon your training goals again, but for building muscles, as saying, you want to be hitting around that 8 to 12 rep range. So you want a weight where you can hit that 8 to 12 nice and easily whilst maintaining contraction, but also keeping good form. That's not contracted, that would be contracted. My biceps contracted. Basically, a contraction is where you're squeezing that muscle, you're tensing it. It's what you do when you lift weights, any kind of weight. As you're lifting it, you're squeezing that muscle and you're contracting that muscle, and that's like the fundamentals to bodybuilding and building muscles. It's all about that contraction. So you want a weight, not too heavy, you want to maintain good form, but it wants to be heavy enough for you to be able to get a contraction and maintain good form. So like, what is good form, you say? Good form usually always includes having a nice straight back and a good posture. So, good form, you want a straight back, you want controlled movements, but you also want to explode on the positive. So let's call this movement where you come up and get the contraction, the positive. And then let's call this movement where you kind of release the negative. And the positive will be where you're resisting against the weight, and the negative will be when you're resisting against gravity, so you want to be controlled down. So on this positive movement where you're contracting, you want to explode up. You want to explode up, then on the negative, when you come back down, you want to be slow and controlled down. So explode up, slow and controlled down. Explode up, slow and controlled down. There's no point in doing this. Like, you're using momentum again. Going back to what we were saying a minute ago, what weight shall I use? You want a weight, as I said, where you can maintain a good form. The whole idea of maintaining good form is you're focusing that weight on a particular muscle group. So if you see people like on gym memes and stuff, they've got, I don't know, say something stupid like, they're a small guy, they have like 60 kilos on like a fucking Olympic bar or something, just swinging their back, like trying to do curls with it, swinging it up. Like, at the end of the day, that's shit. Like, what you're doing then is you're putting pressure on your back, you're getting momentum and throwing it with your back. So not only is that going to put unnecessary pressure on your back and possibly injure you, it's going to take away pressure from your muscles. You're not getting an as good contraction in your bicep. So by having a lighter weight in good form, you're really focusing that pressure on that muscle group. Something else that I can add about a good form is getting a full range of motion as well. Like, that's essential, because in order to get a good contraction, you need to get a full range of motion. In the long run, compared to someone that gets a good contraction, good pump, nice squeeze, a good 8 to 12 rep range, if you're doing low reps of shit form, you're gonna build less muscle. No one gives a shit if you do a light weight at the gym. Like, you go to the gym for the first time, you're like, oh, everyone's so big, they're judging me so much. No one cares what you're doing. They're interested in themselves, getting their contraction, working out, building muscle. They will care if you do a weight that's much too heavy for you and end up throwing it around and looking like a retard. Right, another thing that people commonly do, including myself, like literally all my friends did this, was you buy a gym membership for the first time, you walk into the gym, you know, like, what do I do? What do I train? How do I train? So you basically go up to a machine, do some curls, do some squats, do some tries, do some back, do some abs over the course of like half an hour. Like, yeah, I'm done. Well, it's kind of logical. You train every single muscle and you'll think that, oh yeah, I'm going to grow in every single muscle. Like, it's going to be much better. Like, all my muscles are just going to grow. No. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to designate certain days for certain muscle groups. So, for example, today I train chest. So normally I just have one day for chest and focus on chest that day. So literally go to the gym on Monday, just do a whole day of chest, just not a whole day, like an hour of chest, focus on chest, and then I think I actually went on to abs as well, so I did chest and abs today. You're just focusing on getting the contraction of that chest and like getting gains in that particular muscle group. So then on Tuesday, for example, the next day you could do legs, and then Wednesday you could do something else, just say arms for an example, it's just purely theoretical. Wednesday arms, Friday shoulders and something else, yeah, basically. So instead of doing everything at once, you want to focus on contraction and focus on working that muscle like each day rather than everything at once, because that's not going to be good. Like, you see so many people do it and they just wonder why they're not growing or making any gains, and that's partially the reason, because you're not training correctly. Regardless of how much you train, space your training out and ensure that you have rest days. As important as it is to lift and actually go to the gym, it's also just as important to ensure you have rest days and give your muscles time to recover. Fucking I don't even know, I'm going, whatever, I can't do this anymore, it's late, I need to do shitty chemistry coursework for uni. Fuck yeah! But yeah, I'm going, like, comment and subscribe, or do whatever.